Welcome again to American Christian or Christian American. We're going to revisit some stuff that I talked about in the previous video, and we're going to expand upon it. We're going to talk about stuff that happened in Louisville, Kentucky with John Marshall, and how the Republicans stood up against him and wanted him fired because he stated to some young African American professionals who asked for his advice and on the current situation, Trump, when it happened November 2024, and he told them that the majority of white people in this country do not have your back, basically, and that they would, the majority of them would hurt African Americans given the chance, which I agree 100%. Because I know how this country is. That doesn't mean that everyone is there. I'm not there, and there are other white people who are not there as well. I hope that there's more Christian white people that are not there, because we have so much problem of a distorted version of Christianity in this country, which comes from white Christian nationalism. But we're going to rewatch this video, and then we're going to build upon that, because these Republicans need to be pointed out. And it's not just in Louisville, Kentucky, but the Republican Party, for the most part, is racist. Now, we have people like John McCain, I suspect, was a good man. He did some good things. He stood up for Barack Obama when he was running for president. And so I can't say that all of them are, but I'd say that the Republican Party has a hold on racism in this country and is connected to all the evil deeds it has done. He had a lot of gall saying that John Marshall was racist. And we're going to talk about that too, because it really is impossible for anybody but white people in this country to be racist. Now, in other countries where the predominant, say in China, predominant people are Chinese, it would be them that would have the possibility of being racist. So before we get into the one with John Marshall, I'm going to support that with a video on racism. Okay?
How many people think they understand what racism is? Show of hands. Come on, you think you know. I'm not suggesting I know. I just have a couple of definitions that kind of came to me as I thought about. How many people think there are white racists? That there are white racists out there? How many think there are black racists out there? Okay. Now, this is an interesting thing because this becomes important as we begin to define concepts. Now, I do that. I usually define concepts all the way. But one of the things that I do is I try to help people get a picture of what I mean by racism. So tell me how it is. First category is white racism, then we'll deal with black racism. So white racism. Tell me the ways in which white racism adversely impacts the lives of black people. Just what are the ways that white racism can adversely impact the lives of black people as a group? What are some of those ways? I'm sorry? Power, but how is that defined specifically? Education, okay. I'm sorry? Economically, employment. What else? Housing, what else? Policing. Why are we here today? Healthcare, okay. Now, we could actually kind of grow that list. Now we're going to move over to black racism. Tell me the ways in which black racism adversely impacts the lives of white people as an entire group. Thank you. The reason why you become silent, there's one that always comes up, and that's fear. White people are afraid of black people. They are afraid of us. And it's a very interesting thing because black people know it. We know white people are afraid. But you have to start getting into the psychology. What are you afraid of? Why are you afraid? But it's an interesting dynamic. Now, also you see the difference in what racism is, do you not? Racism implies you have not just prejudice, but the power to do something with that prejudice. Now, I want you to look at this photo very closely, and I want you to see who's in it. More important than the man hanging, because you got to understand the lynchings that occurred in America happened after slavery, not during. Thousands of lynchings happened after slavery. because this is a reaction to white fear of what we would do once freed. But we didn't create a vigilante group to take out white people, but they did create a vigilante group to take us out now that we're free. See, that happened after slavery. They were called the what? The Ku Klux Klan. They don't wear hoods anymore, they wear suits.
So like I've been saying from the beginning, is that it's impossible for anybody except white people in this country to be racist, because white people hold the political power to affect the lives of other people, especially African Americans in this country. Black people in this country do not have the political or economic power to affect white people. Racism is a different category than just being prejudiced. Everybody can be prejudiced, but racism implies that they have that power. A lot of people don't understand terms when they use them. And I've done that too. But it's important to understand the terms and how we use them. Racism in this country was created by white people and was created before this country. It was created to conquer and for slavery. It was used by the papal bulls that were done by the Pope to take away the land from Africans and others. And it authorized the slave trade. So it's not new. Now, before we go on, I forgot to mention the first clip. Would you please hit the subscribe button and the like button? This will help more of the videos come to you and give us a better algorithm. And we're making progress as we're growing here. I'm learning more about how to do this. But I'm asking for your support. We can do that. The next thing we're going to be discussing here is we're going to go back to, again, the John Marshall video and go through that again. Because I want you to pay close attention to the Republican and the things that he says. Because Republicans say things trying to make people think they're saying something else. But really, there is a very sinister action that goes on here. It's about taking down the black man and making other people afraid to stay in their place. So we're going to add that video in here, and then we're going to move on from there. And we're going to discuss other things that all bring this together.
On the night team under fire tonight, John Marshall, the chief equity officer for JCPS, for what he posted on social media 2 days ago. Kentucky Republicans from Louisville want him gone by tomorrow, and they're in solidarity about it. But the school board chairman is telling us it's Marshall's First Amendment right to say what he did. WHAS 1119's Alexandra Goldberg is here with all sides of this growing controversy, and it could come to a close maybe tomorrow, Alexandra.
Doug, right. Well, it would be up to Superintendent Marty Pollio to make any decisions about this. And of course, those dozen state lawmakers are calling on Pollio to remove John Marshall from his position as the chief equity officer at JCPS. But the board chairman and civil rights leaders are saying it's Marshall's right to speak freely and on social media. This tweet by JCPS Chief Equity Officer John Marshall is stirring up controversy. Marshall posting November 11th, quote, regardless of the rooms, meetings, classes, etc. you're in, know the majority of whites could care less about you and have no issues harming you.
What he said is virulently racist. It instigates violence on behalf of students, and he needs to be gone before school starts tomorrow.
The tweet is a really clear mirror for the GOP caucus and the way that many people see their policies, see their advocacy of unmitigated white supremacy.
Louisville's Republican contingent wants Marshall out before the morning bell rings tomorrow. But prominent Louisville professor and columnist Dr. Ricky Jones says, don't you dare resign. This is what they try to do to black men in Kentucky who tell the truth. Representative Jason Nemus of Middletown disagrees.
This particular comment made to students is disgusting. It's racist at the core. And it instigates violence. I mean, what he told African-American students was the majority of white people want to hurt you.
JCPS board chairman Corey Scholl says it's Marshall's First Amendment right, and he won't reprimand Marshall.
A seasoned veteran educator for a tweet that reflected his opinions and reflections upon what's happening nationally.
He can say these kinds of things as a citizen. He cannot say these kinds of things making $200,000 as the chief equity officer at JCPS.
Scholl saying this is a part of a larger attack on diversity, equity, and inclusion in education. A JCPS spokesperson gave us this statement, quote, Dr. Marshall is
Again, we're looking here. This is not about, he says that John Marshall was stirring up hatred against white people and stuff. That's not true at all. The hatred is coming from white people. Not all white people, but a huge majority of white people, especially in certain parts of the country. He is standing up against that, and he's warning these young black professionals, beware, because they have to be, because they live in a society of violence that was brought here by Europeans. Europeans brought violence to this country and have perpetuated through slavery, through Jim Crow, through all the things in the way they have actually tortured African Americans in this country, where they have tortured to almost exterminate the Native Americans. We got another clip here I want you to pay attention to. But the violence we see from other groups is something, one, that was taught by Caucasians, also perpetuated by Caucasians in the sense of constant oppression. It brings anger to people as they're being put down. So if there's any blame for violence or hate, it's upon Caucasians. And these Republicans here in Louisville are trying to reinforce that in order to create a subjugated group, or not just to create it, because they've already done that, but to perpetuate it, to knock down prominent black men or women who are leaders and who are pointing a direction for people to be risen up. They want to knock them down. And if they can knock them down, they can instill fear of others. Let's look at this next clip.
Remember that we learned from some of the best. They had some white boys came over here that did the first beheadings in Point Coupee, Louisiana, where I'm from. Slave insurrection, that was the way you dealt with it. Tuskegee syphilis incident. We're going to see how black men die if they have syphilis, but we pretend we treat them with penicillin, and we're just going to watch the pathology of how they die. Now, that wasn't back 200 years ago. That was 1930 to 1974. We're talking about giving these wonderful blankets to the Native Americans infected with smallpox as they walked on that trail of tears just to see how they die and to eliminate their population so we can take all of that land. So the violence that is in America has come from a very learned position that was brought here by some Caucasian folks. All right?
Okay, so we looked at this last clip, and again, here we talk about the racism and the violence that has been brought into this country by who? Caucasian people have come to this country with violence in mind. That doesn't mean Caucasian people are inherently violent. Mankind can be inherently violent because they don't follow God. But what happened in this country, the basis for racism, the basis for violence and hate was perpetuated through white supremacy in this country. They came here and they enslaved people in this country, and they treated them brutally. They hunted down and killed the Native Americans, even gave them blankets. After they had taken so many things away from them, they gave them blankets to keep warm during the winter because they had taken away the buffalo and other things. But the blankets were infected with smallpox, another way to wipe out the Native Americans. This is just evil. This is evil. And they talk again about these Republicans saying about John Marshall spreading hate. No, he's not. He's standing up to the hate that Caucasians have done. He's not telling people to hate Caucasians. He's telling people to listen, watch out, because they don't mean you no good. And he's right. The GOP in this country and too many Democrats in this country are bought and paid for by corporations. And too many are part of white supremacy. We need more people to stand up who actually want to do right in this country. We need people who are Christians, who actually want to follow God and do right, to stand up and be a louder voice than white Christian nationalism. They need to stand up for Jesus, but they also need to stand up for what's right in this country, because it really is standing up for what's Jesus, making known that God doesn't support these things. He supports love and bringing people into a loving family and create a relationship. If more real Christians stood up in this country, it would help change some things. It doesn't mean that everybody would become a Christian. There are people who are not going to follow God. That's just a fact. God gave them a choice. We can't take a choice away from them, but we can make it clear what the choice is. That God is a loving God and that we're supposed to love each other. Another thing we're going to talk about now is we're going to talk about the continued idea where the country has violence in it. We're going to talk about school shootings. So I've got a couple different clips for you on that. I'm going to play them simultaneously together, and then we'll go on from there.
I was on vacation in the UK for 2 weeks, and while I was gone, there were 48 mass shootings in the United States compared to exactly 0 in the United Kingdom. In fact, there's only been 1 mass shooting over there all year, and even 1 mass shooting per year is an outlier for them because it pretty much never happens. Why is that? Well, in 1996, there was a terrible mass shooting at a school in Scotland. Authorities in the UK responded to that shooting by saying, hey, we never want this to happen again, so they passed laws to make sure it wouldn't happen again, and guess what? There hasn't been a school shooting in the UK ever since. Now, this could be easily replicated in the United States, except for the fact that Republicans value access to guns more than they value victims or potential victims of gun violence, and until that changes, we Americans get to wake up every day and wonder if we're going to end up in a mass shooting.
Amazing grace. They had big dreams and big hearts, the sweet faces of the children gone too soon. 8-year-old Uzia Garcia was just learning to play football. He enjoyed passing the pigskin with his doting grandfather. Xavier Javier Lopez was 10. He loved to dance. He also enjoyed skateboarding, and his favorite subject in school was art. Anne-Marie Jo Garza had just made the honor roll. She made her father very proud. Eliana Cruz Torres enjoyed baseball. Here she is ready to hit a home run. Tess Marie Mata was also 10. She really liked milkshakes. Here she is dancing up a storm to Bruno Mars. Lexi Rubio was described as a bright light to everyone who knew her. Jose Flores was a big baseball fan. He loved school. Rod was 10 years old. She loved gymnastics class. Rigilio Torres called himself a difference maker at school. He was 10. Annabelle Guadalupe Rodriguez showed a lot of school spirit, recently celebrating Field Day. Her cousin, Jackie Cesares, also lost her life. She looks like an angel as she celebrated her first communion 2 weeks ago. Alethea Ramirez held a chocolate chip cupcake to celebrate turning 10. 11-year-old Miranda Manthis had a smile that would light up the room. There are others, all 10 years old. Matt Rodriguez was described as a sweet, smart little girl. Nevea Bravo's cousin says she's flying with the angels now.
Hi, Dad.
Ellie Garcia made this video for her dad, who was working and couldn't attend her birthday party.
I love you, Dad.
Yala Nicole Seguero posted this game day photo, ready to watch a basketball game at school. Her cousin, Yese Carmelo Levanos, was also killed. Layla Salazar proudly holds her first place field day ribbons. So many broken hearts, little ones who had so much to live for.
So in the UK, it was talked about how they really have had no mass shootings except back in Scotland when they had that, quite a few years ago. And they changed their laws to protect their children. We don't want to change our laws because we value the freedom of a gun more than we do children's lives. Children are expendable in this country. They'll sit here and say, well, guns don't kill people, people do. Well, that's true. And people who have access to guns make it easier for them to kill people. But you see, this relates back to the Second Amendment that was actually established to make sure the slaves were kept in order. It was a well-organized militia. It was a slave militia that would shoot the escaped slaves and kill them so they could keep other people afraid and keep them under control. Nothing's changed, really. I mean, we've made some steps, but the same tactics are there. They want to keep guns out there. One, they want people to fight amongst each other. And if they kill each other, well, it takes the attention off what we're doing. But they also want people like the Proud Boys and other people to have guns. They want power in this country. They want an ability to overthrow the government and take it over completely and get rid of all of the progress that's been made. Let's look at another clip talking about the January 6th riots. You think about all this, and you think about who has brought violence to this country, really. Who has brought violence and who has instilled violence in this country? It's been Caucasians. Let's look together.
Provide answers to American people about January 6th. It's important that we remember exactly what took place. That this was no tourist visit to the Capitol. Most of the footage we are about to play has never been seen. The Select Committee obtained it as a part of our investigation. This isn't easy to watch. I want to warn everyone that this video includes violence and strong language. Without objection, I include in the record a video presentation of the violence of January 6th.
Proud of your boy! Proud of your boy! Proud of your boy!
Yeah, just for awareness, be advised, there's probably about 300 Proud Boys. They're marching eastbound in this 400 block of kind of Independence, actually on the mall towards the United States Capitol.
I am not allowed to say what's going to happen today because everyone's just going to have to watch for themselves. But it's going to happen. Something's going to happen.
Whose streets? Our streets! Whose streets? Our streets! Whose streets? We are on your side. Don't make us go against you. Inside. These are our streets.
$20 a picture.
I hope Mike is going to do the right thing. I hope so. I hope so. Because if Mike Pence does the right thing, we win the election. All Vice President Pence has to do is send it back to the states to recertify. And we become president, and you are the happiest people. Mike Pence is going to have to come through for us. And if he doesn't, that will be a sad day for our country. Because you'll never take back our country with weakness. You have to show strength, and you have to be strong.
Cruiser 50, it does look like we're going to have an ad hoc march stepping off here. There's a crowd surge heading east.
We love Trump! 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 We love Trump!
Mike Pence, I hope you're going to stand up for the good of our Constitution and for the good of our country. And if you're not, I'm going to be very disappointed in you. I will tell you right now.
We just had protests at T Circle, breach the line. We need backup.
Madam Speaker, the Vice President and the United States Senate.
We're going to give riot warnings as soon as the outright is here. We're going to give riot warnings. We're going to try and get compliance, but this is now effectively a riot.
49 hours declaring it a riot.
Cruiser 5 to 50, be advised, Cal Police 1 advised they're trying to breach and get into the Capitol. 50, I copy.
We're about 5 mics out. We're trying to make our way through all this. We have a breach of the Capitol! Breach of the Capitol to the upper level!
Jack, be advised they're requesting additional resources on the east side as they've broken into that window and they're trying to kick it in.
Without objection, the chair declares the House in recess pursuant to Clause 12B of Rule 1.
Mike Pence didn't have the courage to do what should have been done to protect our country and our Constitution, giving states a chance to certify a corrected set of facts, not the fraudulent or inaccurate ones which they were asked to previously certify. U.S. demands the truth. Bring out Pence. Bring out Pence. Bring out Pence.
If we want this country to improve, I mean, really, if we want to improve, if you don't want to be one of those people who want to conquer it and keep it all white and to keep power and control, to keep evil and hatred towards other people, if you really want change in this country, well, first of all, you need to look towards God. I mean, really look towards God, not what white supremacists say. If you're not willing to do that, then the other suggestions I would have is, one, learn to work together and learn to look at other countries. Stop with this American pride to the point where you become so arrogant to think that America is better than everybody else, because America doesn't rank so high in a lot of areas. We have what's called a flawed racism, and actually we've moved into actually a dictatorship. We haven't completely gone there, but we're pretty much, heavily into it. At least it was the time this video was made. I'm not sure what the time it's going to be aired, but it'd be nice if there's some progress. But also other countries rank better as far as living standards. Canada, who's been harassed by Donald Trump, usually ranks in the top 5 most livable countries, and yet we don't rank anywhere near that, and we want to absorb Canada. Why in the world would they want to be part of us in this country? Why? This country is a mess. Now, it's not that they don't have problems, but in comparison, we want to learn from the UK, who does this. There's other countries about their prison terms, about how they treat their employees. All these things we can learn from other countries. But realize when a Republican or many too many white people accuse an African American of causing trouble or hatred or racism, pretty much that's not true. They're standing up to continue to suppress other people. You can look at that man in that video and know that he and his colleagues are part of the racist core of this country. John Marshall wasn't the racist. John Marshall was standing up for what's right. He was standing up against hatred. He was standing up against all these things. But that man who spoke, memorize his face, because he stands for racism. He stands for white power. He stands for denying people what they need. Think about this. This country is striving to take away Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security, everything that people rely upon, all to make the richest people rich. Is this a civilized country? No, not at all. There are civilized people here, but this country is not civilized. These are people who care nothing for anybody but their own power, and they'll lie, point the finger, call people everything they can in order to continue to have their power of oppression. And in Louisville has a history of it. And so does, we have these people, all the Republicans in Louisville, in charge stood together on this, that John Marshall needs to step down. That's because there's racism, because people who are racist elect these people. And some people who don't necessarily know what they're doing need to think about this, because these people represent the evil in this country and what they do to other people and how they hurt other people. They're only out to make their rich constituents better. They're lining their own pockets. They don't care about the welfare of the other people. They don't care about the education of people who are not white. They care about their own power, and they will blame everybody and anybody they can and put anybody and everybody down that they can in order to maintain it. We need to stand together for God. We need to stand together for each other. We need to call all people our brothers and sisters. And we need to pray for those people who do harmful things, that maybe they can turn around and do what's right. But we need to stand against what they do until they do. Until the next time, on American Christian or Christian American, good night.